Hi, today we're gonna look at the large format lens, which is the rolling stock 210 at 5.6. I have bought some large format lenses off eBay. I want to raise some concerns to some people maybe interested in purchasing large format lenses. First of all, when you purchase any lens off eBay marked used, especially large format lenses, you're going to be expecting some heavy usage from other professionals. But given that a fact, the first thing you should check is the condition of the lens. You should check in 3 different parts. Fortunately, large format lenses are very easy to be taken apart. It consists of actually 3 parts. What we're doing now is the shutter part. This particular lens is the rolling stock 210 at 5.6, which is marking the Copo #1 shutter. So here's the shutter part. You close the shutter and open the shutter and look at the condition. The first thing you do, you look at shutter blades. The shutter blades mark the heavy usage or light usage of the previous owner. And you look at the scratch marks of the different area to see if the lens has been professional cleaned or has been cleaned by the photographer itself. From this particular shutter, you can see a very slight separation of the shutter blades, of the number 5 shutter blades right here, and you see all these the heavy usage mark, which is the use mark, wear marks around the edges of the shutter blade. And when you do that, you flip the lens over. This is the rear part. Actually, you're gonna see that as well. So number 2, you do the shutter speed test. What you do is you mark this one either 11 or 16 so you can see the movement of the aperture blades. You cock the shutter and you let it go. And you always test the 1 speed first, because it tends the slower speed always getting sticky for the old lenses. This particular shutter actually sounds pretty good. So if you go up to speed, actually if the first second sticks, actually when you go up to speed, actually the problem tends to be less noticeable. 1/8. Adding one thing, there's 3 Copo shutters available: 1, 0, 1, and 3. The number 1 actually goes up to 400 of second. The other one goes to 1/25 and 500. So you can tell the Copo #1 shutter actually is a medium size shutter. It's right in between in size and aperture wide speed. So okay, let's come to the lens. The large format lens is very expensive, but very, very simple. Rear elements, front elements, and a shutter. That's it. So, and when you open this one up, you see the glass marks. Any marks around the edges, you're gonna see the edges over here to see if the lens actually was taken apart. This particular lens is not. But if you look closely, there's a stains over here. Sometimes the liquid stain can be fungus, can be mold, can be anything growing out of the lenses. A lot of fungus really like the large format lenses. Any kind of lenses stored in a dark area, in a cloth, whatever the previous moisture has entered into, especially for large format lenses, it's very easy to be taken apart with pretty much zero moisture seal. So you're gonna see some marks around the edges. And flip it over, do you see any marks around the outside ring of the lens? This is a retention ring. Actually hold the lens element together. This is the rear elements. You see how many times it's taken apart. Normally, the large format photographers do not take their lens rear elements apart that frequently, unless they have a conversion lens. Conversion lens means some people, they want to try to save money. They're going to use the front element part and change the rear elements to make a different focal length. So you're going to see some wear marks off the the screw mount over here. So that marks what kind of lens the previous photographer actually used. So you inspect the glass, inspect the retention ring, and well, giving these apart, let's look at the shutter again. When you look at the shutter, you place the shutter, the aperture, into the smallest to the largest. Now you can see all these wear marks of the aperture. Because when you're buying a used large format lens, it's pretty much buying like a used car. Like used car, you know, you don't want to buy a car which already been driven like 300,000 miles with no service record and everything. Fortunately, sometimes you will land into some large format lenses which really used maybe very fairly or very less frequently by photographers. This particular lens was wear very heavily by previous owner or owners. So you can tell by the shutter blade, the exercise mark, the wear marks of the shutter blades, and the aperture blades. Be very, very careful. You don't want to touch none of these. Also, I want to come to this retention ring. This retention ring, I have a retention ring wrench, which is marked with copal 1, 2, and 3. Normally, if you see marks like these are not done by professionals because they don't have retention ring. They have like a little wrench and twisted. That's why you see all these uneven, like being chewed by a dog teeth. That's what it looks like. So you can tell by all these marks how previous owner have used this particular lens.